pretty hyped about this one. We got a million big projects going on in the background. Videos are not going to be ready on those in a while. So let's knock out something pretty simple. This is Honda division of China, I do believe. Not Honda's Japan, this is Honda China division. Found this little guy on Facebook Marketplace. It is a two-person to very small person electric bicycle. We got pedals here. This whole thing here is a battery box. We got a nice storage trunk in the front. Very cool. Something you don't see very often, especially being a legit from China division, not a US market e-bike. I'm not sure who paid to have this brought in. The story I got was somebody in the military brought it over, and it sat in a storage unit forever. Many years later, here it is. I own it. This bike has never been used to my knowledge. The inner tubes are completely cracked, so we gotta replace the inner tubes and the tires. These are not blue little plates. These are probably chromed, but the blue you're seeing is the sticker, the protective film that goes over top of everything. It still has the protective film everywhere. Our battery is completely smoked, so we got to take this apart and figure out what we're going to do with this battery situation. But if we turn the key, we get the faintest little bit of a light and then nothing. I have tried to deep cycle charge this a million times. I've messed with it. Batteries are gone. Goal with this one is I'd like to bring up to modern specifications. So we're gonna tear the battery pack apart, figure out what's going on in there. I assume it's brick batteries. I have a feeling it's just a bunch of Power Wheels batteries stacked up, basically. We're gonna modernize that, probably go to a nice pack with a bunch of laptop cells in there or something. This probably had a range of a couple of miles originally. We're gonna bump that up with as much space as we have in there. If we can fill that up, I guarantee you could get I bet you could get 30-mile range out of that without even trying. And it's going to look awesome in the back of our Subaru Slam Bar we built in a previous video. So let's tear into the battery pack first of all, see what's in there and see what I gotta order, get some parts ordered, and go from there. Should be pretty quick and easy on this guy. Alright, key out. There's a key lock under the seat. And that seat comes up, we're unplugged, and then our battery pack just comes straight out. Ooh. I bet that's every bit of 50 pounds. So we're gonna lighten this thing up a lot and give it a lot more mileage. It is wild to me that this thing must have sat outside for quite some time, because this plastic was originally white. This whole bike is like a tannish yellow now, and that's caused by ultraviolet light over time, UV damage basically. I don't think they would have purposely stained this in yellow, because it's even streaked like where the seat post sits and the sun didn't get to. It's still yellow out here, and then the white is where the sun couldn't get to. I'm wondering how old this thing really is. So inside we have nothing more than 4 Power Wheel style batteries, and they are beyond cooked. That is a crack. These all 4 of these packs are swollen beyond belief. Just very cool. Now, we could just replace this with standard batteries. I guarantee I can even get these exact batteries from China or wherever these are manufactured, most likely China. And we could go back to stock, but I think we're just going to, I don't think, we are going to use this space, and we are going to put one monster-ass battery pack back in here. I gotta do a little research here. 6 DZM-12. This is either a 6-volt battery, making this a 24-volt pack, or it is a 12-volt battery, which is more likely making this a 48-volt pack. And that is a small hub motor. I don't know. Let me do a little research. We'll figure it out. But first of all, let's get these all out. Alright, with all 4 of our batteries out, our realistic working space here for an off-the-shelf battery pack is going to be about here. So the space that 3 batteries occupied will now occupy the 1 battery pack. All this room up at the top here is going to be dead space. Maybe we'll need it for a balancing port or something like that. I'm sure we'll find something to put in that dead space, but I don't want to have a full custom-made battery pack just to fill up the extra space. Yeah, we'll say 5 by 12. And our depth is going to be 1.5 inches, 3 inches. What are these batteries? Batteries are coming in at 4, but we got to nibble some material out to make that work, but it is possible. So realistically, 3.5. 3 to 3.5 most likely. We'll say 3. Alright, see what I can do about a battery pack. Get this thing all back together. This wiring harness does not need to stay. It can go. I'm going to see if I can use the original charging port, but since we are going to lithium pack, we're going to have a balancing port as well, so we'll have to add that in. See what we can find. Be right back. A quick search on Google, and a few weeks later, we have a 48 volt, 20,000 milliamp battery. This thing takes up the same space as about 2.5 of our original batteries, where our original batteries would have gave us a range of around 5, maybe 10 miles, best case scenario. This new battery pack weighs 7 pounds, as much as, yeah, actually I think one of these is heavier than this entire battery pack. So this battery pack is lighter than one of the old batteries, and we're going from 5 to 10 miles of range to 40 to 60 miles out of this one pack. 40 to 60 miles of range out of one pack. And I still have a ton of room up here. If I wanted to get crazy and have a custom battery pack made, the range would be astronomical. 100 miles, I would estimate easily, which is just insanity. This one was off the shelf. We're gonna make it work. We do have to do some trimming, so let's get rid of the electrical connectors, the old electrical plugs. We got to do a little bit of trimming. Looks like there's just one tab in here I got to cut down, and this should just drop right in. And we'll figure out how to mount it in place and keep it secure. Alright, we will just simply take the electrical connector out for now. Different screwdriver. We will be reusing this plug. We're just making some room to fit the battery currently, but I don't want to modify the harness on the bicycle itself, so we are going to reuse the original factory plug there and then just wire the new battery pack to it. It'll no longer be a fast charging port unless you modify a fast charger later on, and we are going to put the battery charging port probably right around in here, I would assume. We'll look at it all once the battery's in there. It has been raining all day and everything is just damp and sticky. Can I sneak it out of there? No, there's no way to sneak it out. Alright, we're gonna cut it. Alright, connector out. Test fit our new battery cell. Yeah, we're definitely hitting right there. Quick hit with the marker shows us we got to get rid of this tower and take this down. Okay. A lot of different ways to cut plastic. My personal favorite is heat. It melts the plastic rather than trying to cut it. You lessen the risk of breaking the tabs and dealing damage to brittle plastic. So heat is always my go-to. Just like that, you get a beautiful cut without damage to the plastic and no cleanup. Now we can come back with another test fit of the battery and it should slot right in. Beautiful. We are a little close to our plug here, which is a little concerning. But we do clear, yeah, we clear by quite a bit. We can always just move the wires over. We have several mil underneath that pack. Plus we're going to put a piece of foam under here to space it. So this is going to work out beautifully. We have a standard T connector. This is our power in, power out. This would be for fast charging and also just for connecting to your motor, drivers, all that. Where we also have a trickle charging port, which is what we're going to use 90% of the time. Takes way longer, but it preserves the battery life, and it's a little easier for everybody to manage. If you don't have a full lithium battery charging station, you can just plug right into the trickle charger there and do your thing. They did give us an extra T adapter here, but it doesn't do us much good. It plugs into the battery, but I do not have a plug for the other end of this, so I'm wondering if I can cannibalize this a little bit and just hardwire to it. That way the battery can be unplugged for future use. You can swap your batteries out without having to do any wiring. Okay, they simply soldered that. Let me do some looking around in the electronics drawer and see what I can come up with. Alright, I think I got everything I need here. Yeah. We're going to put some solder on this guy. Couple minutes of work. We got a quick wiring harness here. It just goes from our Honda plug that runs the bike to the battery pack with the original fuse box in place. I was gonna put my own inline bigger fuse in, but there's really no need. This took up a lot more space. This was already here. There's already a provision for it, and it's sitting at 25. Yeah, we're sitting with a 25 amp fuse, which if we do the calculations, I think it worked out to like 26.5. So this is just fine. This is plenty. Stick this all back together. Hopefully that goes through the hole. I did not think about that. And there we go, nice and tidy, looks factory. All right, last thing to do, our battery needs a spot for this trickle charger to go. Which, how the hell do they want that to work since it's already wired? Apparently they want us to be magicians with all this. Yeah, so I need to cut this trickle charge connector off, drill a hole. What a mess. I don't know what the hell they're thinking here. There's no way to mount this without cutting it. Alright, let's cut it safely, one at a time, because you do not need to short this brand new battery. Now that our plug can be done and undone, we can make this battery completely removable and exchangeable if need be in the future. Now we just have to place our switch. Which looks like it'll go right about there. Appears to be a double layer. Trickle charger. Fast charger if you want to build a charger for it with that connector. Fuse block. Wiring perfect. Charging ports beautiful. Pull this off, trickle charger, make a connector, fast charger, whatever you need to do. Now, I did run down to my don't mind the mess. Things are happening. There's a very wee van in here currently. I did run down to my local shop, grab some of this foam here. This is going to encapsulate our battery. So I'm going to cut this off camera. We're going to sandwich this around the battery, give it a little bit of a cushion and make it fit perfectly. And then we're going to put that pack back together. And there we go, our retrofit battery pack, now able to be lifted with one finger with ease, no worries. Charging port, everything looks beautiful, looks nice and factory even. We'll give this thing a good cleanup at a later date, but let's throw it in the bike and see if we can get some life out of this thing for the first time in, I believe it was 11 years. I looked at the date on the batteries, and I believe those batteries are 11 years old. So this bike's 11 years old. So this is probably the first time that motor has moved in that long, because this thing has not moved. It's much lighter now. Seat goes down, locks it in place, key goes in the ignition. To say I was nervous would be an understatement, but the first time we're plugging her in, pray for no fires. Good thing is you cannot trickle charge with this plugged in, so you have to unplug the battery before you can charge it with it in that location, which is perfect and exactly what you want. And here we go, turning the key. First time I've seen power on that since I've got it. Hit the horn. Oh, adorable. This thing has headlights? Where? Get out of town. It's got a headlight. No kidding. Alright, only thing left to test is the throttle. And it works flawlessly. Amazing. First time in 11 years. How cool. Alright, next thing to do, we'll get out here tomorrow and we're going to change the tubes in these tires and we'll be ready to test this thing. How friggin' cool. Apparently, to get this back wheel off, you have to disassemble the entire bike. The only downfall with hub motors, but they've really cluttered this thing. So if you got a flat on the rear, you probably aren't changing it on the side of the road, that's for sure. Not to mention the hub motor is still directly wired into the controller underneath this rear seat. So I can't even move it far enough with the wiring to get it off the bike. So I will have to just change the tube with it still plugged into the bike right here on the floor. I'm assuming that the tires are just old and dry rotted, and that's why they won't hold air anymore. But for peace of mind, I'm going to run some electrical tape around the wheel just as a barrier between the, oh help me out here, as a barrier between the inner tube and the rim, because I just don't want to take any chances and have this leaking again. With a healthy sprinkling of Vagisil baby powder, we will hopefully keep this tire slipping and sliding, avoiding moisture, and getting rid of some of those disgusting rough road stinks. Throw this all back together, let's get the front one done. So we are running out of warm days. I have a new engine, the Kawasaki van. It's literally on its way right now. And the engine on that pallet and that whole pallet is to get this guy running. So we got a lot of motor swaps going on right now. Anyways, running out of warm days. It's about 50 today. And I really want to get a test ride on this bike and see if she's mechanically stable and all good before I put it up for sale, if I put it up for sale. We are looking at about a 2-mile trip each way, about 4 miles. Realistically, about the max distance you would want to go on this thing with the old lead acid batteries. Like I said previously, we shaved off a minimum 30 to 35 pounds out of this guy and extended the range from a realistic 5 miles, 10 if you're really pushing it, to 40 to 60. So this little 4-mile round trip should not even affect the battery at all. Riding through the beautiful town of McDonald. We're showing no signs of battery sag, no heat, no nothing. Everything's working great. Absolutely in love. 48-volt system has plenty of power. I'd put our top speed right around 12 to 15 miles an hour, which is plenty for these tiny little tires. She's just a runner. So we're gonna head down to towards the Dollar General there, and we're gonna go check out the McDonald Park and head on back home. But great little bike, fun little ride. Well, that's our 2-mile mark there. We're pulling up to the Dollar General, right across the street there. Dollar General. And we're showing 0 sag or fatigue in the battery. She's running A1 perfect. So I'm gonna head back on up the street here and into the McDonald Park area, and we're gonna go for a little cruise. This is the first time I've gone slow enough to actually stop and enjoy the park and look around, and have a really nice World War II memorial here. But we'll continue on our little journey and see how far we get. There we are, back home, still full charge, and most of that ride I ended up having my headlights on the entire time. Used barely any battery. 5 miles, a little over 5 miles. I took a nice scenic ride back, and this thing performed flawlessly. Now the big question is, what am I gonna do with it? Honestly, I'd like to keep it for next year for some car show cruising. There's a couple of big car shows I hit, especially down south, where that would be great just to cruise with. Problem being its size. That you might as well be toting around a full-size motorcycle, dragging that thing around. The other part of me wants to throw it up for sale and let somebody else have it, get a nice Christmas gift for somebody, their kid, what have you, and I think they'd really enjoy it. I don't know. I'm watching Facebook Marketplace and all that. Those Moto Compactos, the little suitcase bikes, are coming down in price pretty decent. If I could snag one of those up around $500, I'd probably let this go and then use the Moto Compacto there for the car shows. But awesome bike, fantastic little ride, great little restoration. If you haven't caught this van is, it's already got a part 1 out. We're in the middle of part 2. This thing's crazy. Don't worry about that too much. We're working on it when we can work on it. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for following along with this little rebuild. I love y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, have a good one.